Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome into the last episode of MystiCast this semester.
And we're live! On this episode, we make cats and giraffes.
Stay tuned to find out what we're talking about.
Hey Mina, I heard you sat down with author Mona Susan Power to talk about her book.
Yeah, I had the honor of interviewing her and she shared life advice. Check it out. Bismarck State College had an important guest speaker on campus April 27th through the 28th. Mona Susan Powers, author of The Grass Dancer, spoke with an air of power mixed with a gentle nature about how she came to understand the story.
Actually, The Grass Dancer started when I was in a hospital bed I had emergency surgery. This visit from, I don't know if it was a vision. In the middle of the night, I woke up and I saw a woman at the foot of my bed, and she was bobbing up and down, as like the way somebody would do when they're dancing in front of the drum. And she was wearing this gorgeous buckskin beaded dress, and so I was like, wait, what's going on? And I just completely believed she was really there in my morphine haze. And then she started moving around, getting closer to me, and I looked out to see her feet, and each step she took, there was like little puffs of dust were coming up. And I said, moon dust, it's moon dust, she's dancing on the moon. And then I was conked out again. And so I was in graduate school to get my Master of Fine Arts at the time. So once I was released from the hospital and off the morphine, I wrote a story to figure out, who is this woman and what is she doing dancing on the moon?
Delving further into the book's characters, she explains why the first twist happens the way it does. She also explains that for those who read the book in its entirety, that they're not alone in that displeasure.
Yeah, there's a character that many people thought was going to be one of the main characters. And then in the first chapter, she's dead. And and I didn't understand why I made that choice. I just knew I didn't like her. I was like, oh no, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time. She annoys me. She's always scared of everything. She's so hypersensitive, and oh my God, be quiet already. And so I just didn't want to write her anymore.
Powers goes on to explain that she has since turned the negative voice in her head into a positive one. That is the message she hopes to leave behind for younger generations.
Hang in there, and if you're somebody that resonates with what I was talking about, where you're down on yourself, you have this inner voice that's like, oh, what do I think? Why would I apply for this? It's not going to work out. Or who do I think I am? Or, to understand that that mean voice is not, it's telling you lies. Don't listen to the lies.
Thank you so much for coming in and talking with us. And
Thank you.
I'm Mina Good Eagle, sitting here with Mona Susan Powers. Thank you so much for coming in and talking with us about your book. You can pick one up at the BSC bookstore.
It was such a pleasure meeting with her. I can't wait to finish the book myself.
Sounds like a good book. Every year, thousands of trees are planted across North Dakota. Levon learned about the Morton County Soil Conservation District when he sat down with Ethan Gress.
When you drive around town, are you aware of every tree? Do you look at them and think about them probably a half second longer than every other person?
I would say now that I've been in the position for a while, yes. It is strange how much more you think about something when you care about it.
In the middle of May, the Soil Conservation begins their planting process, and this year they plan to plant around 120,000 linear feet. To watch the complete interview with Ethan Gress and learn more about the Soil Conservation District, head to our YouTube channel. Clay comes from the earth, right?
I think.
Well, today we attempt to use the tools given to us by nature.
What are you making, Levon?
Giraffe.
That's the first thing that came to your mind? It's like, I gotta
Honestly,
make it.
yeah. That's the first thing I thought.
Giraffe. That's
Giraffe.
Don't they eat poisonous leaves?
Wow, there'll be some Tadam music.
It almost have.
I'm making a jewelry box. I don't know why I said
That's what I thought.
I'm making a jewelry box.
And nobody can stop me.
And then I'm just gonna put this on there and be like, yeah, I made that.
We have one more.
I'm trying to make a pen pot for the desk I never brought. I'm in fact going to see a giraffe on Saturday. I love giraffes. I'm gonna go home like, oh my god, he is not creative.
I also feel
Ash,
like
what
what makes you mad?
This.
We here at Mystic Media want to thank the art department for allowing us to participate in the Roku pottery event. Pottery isn't the only art medium housed here at BSC's campus. Fisher Ackerson is a jack of all trades when it comes to arts. She paints, sculpts, and acts. Taylor met with Fisher to find out more.
Yeah, so last year in the spring we had a musical. It was the SpongeBob musical, and that was my first time doing something theatrical, like a real thing. I think we had our theater program my senior year of high school is when we actually got it. And I did something then, but doing an actual college production, that was really awesome, and I acted in that. And then this year, I started working as a scenic painter and assistant scenic designer for some of the productions at BSC. So I painted the set for Frankenstein and Peter Wendy, and then most recently, A Year with Frog and Toad. And yeah, it's been really fun. Spend a lot of my time in that theater, but yes.
To find the full interview, visit our YouTube channel, BSC MystiCast.
From one accomplished painter to another, well, kind of, Levon paints us a perfect portrait of his feline friend. Meow, that's what I call art.
From the canvas to the computer screen, graphic design is on the scene. Meet Kaya, a graphic design communication student here at Bismarck State College. She shares more about how she got to BSC.
What advice would you give anyone to wanting to go into the graphic design field?
So if you're wanting to go into the graphic design field, my advice is to get started early. Start drawing, start learning, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in a classroom setting. That means YouTube tutorials, that means figuring things out for yourself. Just getting out there and getting started is the biggest challenge.
That sounds like a fun career. Thank you, Kaya, for meeting with us here at Mystic Media. Once again, check out the full interview on our YouTube.
Have you ever seen a UFO light up the night sky? Do you think there's something else out there in this vast universe with us? Let me dazzle you with some real-life alien sightings in North Dakota. Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Presser, and today I thought it'd be fun to share with you some Dakota mysteries and oddities. book was written by William Jackson and published in 1999, and there are a bunch of cool stories in here regarding North Dakota. It's a bunch of Dakota mysteries and oddities, as the cover explains, but it's a bunch of stories. This guy, he traveled around with his wife all over North Dakota, and they picked up a bunch of cool stories from all over, and so he wrote a book about it, which is really cool. And specifically, I wanted to read the first flight between a plane and a UFO. These are all sightings that people have had in North Dakota, so that's pretty interesting. I mean, who doesn't like to talk about UFOs every once in a while? So, let's jump right in. A clear white round object with fuzz around the edges appeared just ahead. It was blinking on and off. As I approached, however, the light suddenly became steady and pulled into a sharp left bank. I thought it was going to make a pass at the tower. I dived after it, but I couldn't catch up with the thing, George F. Gorman, a North Dakota National Guard pilot, told reporters. Then, he said, the object in his plane got on a collision course, which he avoided by making a sharp dive. Shortly after, he said, while on another collision course, he held his position and the object shot straight up. Gorman said he revved his P-51 World War II Mustang fighter to well over 400 miles an hour, but the object easily sped away. Confirming his story was a ground controller who saw Gorman's plane fight with what he thought was a light. This story, which took place in 1948 over Fargo skies, has gone down in the annals of history as the first fight between a plane and a UFO. Phyllis, Gorman's widow, who lives in Texas, where she and the lieutenant colonel retired, said her husband rarely talked about the encounter. Although the story came out in the Saturday Evening Post, she said the Air Force closed her husband's mouth about the incident. She said he was insulted that the official position was that he suffered from vertigo, a sensation of dizziness. So next, we have Dakota man described the first flying saucer. It was, actually, another North Dakotan, Kenneth Arnold, who is credited as being the man who started the flying saucer age. In 1947, 1 year earlier than Gorman's incident, Arnold spotted what he called saucers while commercially flying near Mount Rainier. After a bright flash reflected off his plane, Arnold searched the skies and saw a chain of 9 saucer-shaped objects flying from north to south at 9,500 feet. Every few seconds, 2 or 3 of the objects dipped or changed course, just enough for the sun to reflect off of them. Using a cowling tool, Arnold estimated the objects were about 2/3 the size of his DC-4. He also estimated they were traveling over 1,600 miles per hour, and that would be very fast. I couldn't imagine traveling at that speed. Although the Air Force lists Arnold's sighting as an unexplained case, the official theory is the objects were part of a mirage. In a 1967 newspaper article, he said he believed the saucers aren't machines but a living organism that, quote, apparently has the ability to change its density, similar to fish that are found in our oceans without losing their apparent identity. I don't know if you guys believe in UFOs or not. I don't know if there's anything out there. I'm not sure I want to know. I kind of like living in ignorant bliss where I don't know if anything's out there, because if there's nothing out there, then that's kind of lonely in this big universe. But if there is, then that opens up a whole nother can of worms with what's out there, and that can be kind of intimidating. So I kind of just like not knowing that maybe something's out there, but maybe not. And right now, I just don't know, and I kind of like it that way. So what do you guys think? That's all for this video. Until next time, bye! If any of these stories are of interest to you, check out one of William Jackson's books on Dakota mysteries and oddities.
That video really was out of this world. However, we here at Mystic Media have the honor of working with one professor who is a shining star to all of us. Here's the story of the Karen Bauer.
And she kept catching mistakes that she would bring up to the editor, that they finally started putting her into copy editing. And so then that was how she got into journalism.
Karen Bauer spells her name with a lowercase k, and that's because she stands out amongst the rest. She began her journey in communications in the newsroom at a local newspaper. She decided her calling was journalism and got an education in the communications field. She eventually wound up at Bismarck State College as a student, and then she found her way to the other side of the desk. Karen started teaching in 2000 at BSC, and has made many strong connections within the campus community ever since.
I met Karen when our offices were in Schaefer Hall and they were across the hall from each other.
When Kim started teaching at BSC in 2011, she noticed that Karen was a private person, which is why I'm sure she'll love this documentary. She often would keep the door to the adjoining hallway shut. However, Kim and Karen found a common love of journalism.
My mother has a background in journalism, and so we started visiting about some of that and had in common things like waxing and using the X-Acto knife to place the pages and all that kind of stuff. And so we started talking, and I knew that we were friends when she opened her doorway to the hallway.
After the doorway to their friendship opened up, they found themselves always doing something fun with one another. From trips to New York City to laughs had over dinner at the Toasted Frog, they always enjoy being around each other. Kim says that their friendship is so special that they could be doing nothing at all, and she would still enjoy that time spent with her best friend. Their friendship is so strong and true, but Miss Karen's biggest impact at BSC has been on the students.
You can't really describe it because it's more of an aura than it is an actual action. But she cares, legitimately cares so much that it's impossible for that not to bleed through to students, I think.
I think Karen is an important professor because she cares so much about the students as people. But she wants each person to succeed, and I think that's what separates her is her investment in students.
I've learned a lot from Karen, and she takes such a hands-off approach. You don't realize how much you learn from her. You kind of realize it when you leave.
Aside from teaching lessons in the classroom, Karen is also the advisor for the campus newspaper, The Mystician. And because she believes and trusts in her students, she has been able to help them through not only their college career, but their lifelong careers as well.
Early on, I really was drawn to her and really liked her as a professor, but then working with her as the editor, you know, I just always had support from her, whether it be for the newspaper, for my classes, or for my life. And so she was more than just a professor or a newspaper advisor. She was really kind of a life mentor and friend, and now is a friend, so.
She was always there when I needed her, but I didn't want to disappoint Karen. Like, she believed in me, and I wasn't about to disappoint her.
Both Hunter and Katie were editors of The Mystician and received some backlash from the campus community for things published in the newspaper.
She took a lot of heat from certain people who ran this college at the time because they were trying to censor this, and she wouldn't back down.
You know, there's just always like issues, or we published an F-bomb in an opinion piece, actually multiple F-bombs that were quotes in an opinion piece, and got a lot of backlash from that.
Although Karen was a leader to them, and as the General Colin Powell said, great leaders are almost always great simplifiers, who can cut through argument, debate, and doubt to offer solution everybody can understand.
A lot of leaders back down. Karen's a leader who wouldn't back down.
And Karen always had our backs, but also like made us take the responsibility for it. So when BSC communications people came to her and said, why was this published? Karen said, why don't you come talk to my editor and the writer about it? And, you know, and taught us how to have those conversations and kind of explain ourselves, but also not that we're in trouble, in a way that we're saying this is why we did it, and you know, take responsibility, but also have confidence in our decisions.
Through these tough situations on campus, Karen taught her students lessons that will last a lifetime.
She encouraged us all to find our voices and to go out on campus and do the interviews and ruffle feathers if we needed to, and, you know, force conversations and hold people accountable. And I think at the age I was at that time, I really needed someone to push me to take my voice and use it, and that's what she did with a lot of us. And so I think that's another good quality that she has, is she makes us do things that are maybe scary, but they then instill confidence in us and experience and help us in the long term.
She gave me the superpower, and now I have 80 kids in a school who I can share that superpower with.
She's irreplaceable. There's just no way that you can sum it up. I mean, she's brave, and she's tough, and she's a word geek, and she's thoughtful, and not just thoughtful like nice to other people, thoughtful like think things through, methodical. She's a caretaker.
I just really value having her in my life. Past the education, past BSc, just having her as a friend now. She's just a good person, and she cares, and she's kind, and I mean, what more could you ask for in a friend? And so, because I valued her so much in my education and through my journey leading to my career, it just makes sense to have her in my personal life.
Everything in my life today is because of Karen. And that's why, I'm about to cry, that's why I dedicated my book to her. I wouldn't have a book without Karen. I wouldn't be an English teacher without Karen. If it wasn't for Karen, I wouldn't have any of the things I have right now. And I can't believe I'm crying. Karen, I don't cry, Karen. And I'm crying and I'm looking at the camera. I'm not supposed to do, but she is the reason I am who I am today.
I don't even know. To say she's my friend is the wrong word. She's more like a sister. Oh, I was gonna make it through. I'm gonna do it. My life is infinitely richer by having her in it.
What a wonderful woman. We here at Mystic Media thank you, Karen, for being our North Star.
Yes, and thank you for everything you've taught us. And I also want to give a quick shout out to Dusty Anderson, and thank you for everything that you've taught us here at MystiCast. It's been an honor working with you.
Well, Taylor, this is our very last MystiCast.
Yes, I'm sad. So for the last time, we're signing off.
Goodbye, everybody, and good luck on your finals.
We love you.